अस्सलाम वालेकुम स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल। आज हम EDUA601 के लेक्चर नंबर 23 से 45 तक फाइनल टर्म प्रिपरेशन के हवाले से मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट शॉर्ट क्वेश्चंस स्टार्ट करने लगे हैं। मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि ये वीडियो आपके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा यूजफुल रहेगी। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं लेक्चर 23 के साथ। Who was John Dewey and what movement did he establish? John Dewey was an American pragmatist, philosopher, psychologist, and educator. He is regarded as the founder of the progressive education movement. Why did Dewey consider education a necessity of life? Dewey believed that society survives by transmitting its beliefs, knowledge, and ways of living to the younger generation. Education makes this social renewal possible. What is incidental education according to Dewey? Incidental education is the learning that occurs naturally when people live, communicate, and participate with others in a community. It is different from deliberately planned formal education. How is education a social function? Education is a social function because it communicates the beliefs, ideals, and habits of society to the young. It prepares children to participate meaningfully in community life. What role does the environment play in Dewey's philosophy? Dewey believed that children are educated indirectly through the environment in which they act. Adults influence learning by arranging social conditions and experiences. What are the three functions of the school environment? The school simplifies complex civilization, removes undesirable influences, and balances social opportunities. It also helps learners escape the limitation of the social group into which they were born. What did Dewey mean by education as direction? Education as direction means guiding, controlling, and regulating children's activities toward useful goals. Effective direction maintains a balance between helpful guidance and excessive control. How does social association influence children? Association with other people shapes children's mental and moral dispositions. Children often learn attitudes and behavior by observing and imitating those around them. Why is immaturity important for growth? Dewey viewed immaturity as a positive condition because it represents the potential to grow. A child can develop continuously through experience, support, and interaction. How are habits related to growth? Why did Dewey reject education as preparation for future life? Dewey argued that children live in the present and are not strongly motivated by a distant future. Education should therefore make present experiences meaningful and educational. What is meant by a school as an embryonic society? An embryonic society is a school that functions like a small democratic community. Students learn cooperation, responsibility, and citizenship by participating in shared activities. What is the main aim of education according to Dewey? The main aim of education is to develop the learner's continued capacity for growth. Education should enable a person to keep learning throughout life. What are the qualities of a good educational aim? A good aim grows out of existing conditions and the learner's real needs. It gives direction, allows choice among alternatives, and remains flexible during the learning process. What are the first three steps of Dewey's effective inquiry? The first three steps are the occurrence of a genuine problem, clear specification of the problem, and introduction of a possible hypothesis. These steps turned out into an organized investigation. What are the final two steps of Dewey's inquiry process? The fourth step is to elaborate the hypothesis and examine its possible result. The fifth step is to test the hypothesis experimentally and accept or reject it according to evidence. What kind of curriculum did Dewey support? Dewey supported a child-based curriculum connected with the learner's experiences and view of the world. Subjects should be integrated with meaningful activities of life. What four impulses did Dewey identify in children's behavior? Dewey identified the social, constructive, expressive, and artistic impulses. A good curriculum provides opportunities for all four impulses to develop. What is a major criticism of Dewey's experimentalism? Critics argue that too much classroom experimentation may create uncertainty and expose students to unsuccessful methods. They also claim that it can weaken teacher authority and traditional standards. What is democratic education? Democratic education gives learners a meaningful share in decision affecting their school life. It combines participation with responsibility and prepares students for active citizenship. What is institutional republicanism? Institutional republicanism supports limited representative government and orderly civic participation. Education prepares citizens to obey laws, vote responsibly, and support social stability. What is popular democracy? Popular democracy promotes broad and active participation in civic life beyond periodic voting. Education develops quality, social justice, critical awareness, and principled action. What is deep democracy? Deep democracy supports full participation in all areas of social and civic life. It gives learners direct experience of collective discussion, inclusive participation, and social transformation. What is the meaning of vocation in democratic education? Vocation is a meaningful direction of life that connects a person's abilities with service to society. Dewey considered aimlessness, not leisure, to be the opposite of vocation. State 2 criticism of democratic education. Critics argue that young children still need adult authority and may not voluntarily choose difficult learning. They also fear that majority decisions may suppress individual needs and interests. Who was Maria Montessori? Maria Montessori was an Italian physician and educator who developed an influential method of early childhood education. Her work was based mainly on scientific observation of children. What was Casa di Bambini? Casa di Bambini was Montessori's school for young children established in Rome in 1907. It became the setting for observing free children in prepared environment. Which thinkers influenced Montessori's educational method? Montessori was strongly influenced by Jean-Marc Gaspard Ettard, Edward Segan, and Giuseppe Sergi. Their work encouraged scientific observation, individual study, and natural methods of education. What is sensorial education in the Montessori method? Sensorial education develops children's sense through carefully designed materials. It improves attention, concentration, mental order, and ability to identify the correct errors. What does freedom with responsibility mean in Montessori education? Children are free to choose purposeful activities and move within the prepared environment. However, they must respect materials, other people, and the consequences of their own actions. How did Montessori change the traditional teacher child relationship? Montessori replaced teacher dominance with guidance and observation. The teacher helps children become independent, self reliant, and responsible for their own learning. What natural tendencies did Montessori observe in free children? Free children selected purposeful materials, concentrated deeply, repeated activities, and became calm and orderly. They often preferred meaningful work and did not require rewards or punishment. How is Montessori's method connected with current educational issues? The method supports equality, freedom, observation, child seized furniture, and respectful teacher student relationships. These ideas remain important in modern child centered classroom. Why did Montessori introduce reading and writing at an early age? She observed that young children showed a natural readiness for language and could learn without excessive effort. Early literacy also reduced difficulties when children entered elementary school. What are sandpaper letters and metal insets used for? Sandpaper letters help children learn letter shapes through touch and movement. Metal insects develop pencil control and the muscular coordination needed for handwriting. How did Montessori children begin reading? Children first practiced reading individual words before interpreting connected text. Montessori encouraged silent mental understanding before expressive oral reading. Name four Montessori materials used for early mathematics. Important materials include number rods, the spindle box, small cubes with number cards, and sandpaper numerals. These materials make number concept concrete and self-correcting. Why did Montessori consider teacher training essential? She wanted teachers to reproduce the successful condition of the first Casa de Bambini. Teachers needed training to become observers and directresses rather than traditional instructors. What are the characteristics of Montessori's three-period lesson? The three-period lesson is brief, simple, and objective. The teacher uses few truthful words so the child can focus directly on the material. What are Montessori's four planes of development? The four planes are the absorbent mind from birth to age 6, the conscious mind from 6 to 12, abstract thinking from 12 to 18, and adulthood from 18 to 24. What are the main characteristics of adolescence in Montessori's theory? Adolescence is a sensitive period of personality development in which young people may be vulnerable to stress and humiliation. They need respect, emotional support, and suitable environment. What is the basis of Montessori's development curriculum? The curriculum is based on children's interests, developmental planes, and psychological readiness. Materials support learning, but children's meaningful interests determine the direction of the curriculum. How did Montessori distinguish imagination from fantasy? Imagination is based on reality and helps children discover truth in science and art. Fantasy may confuse children when it has no sound connection with real experience. What are the main features of a prepared environment? A prepared environment is orderly, attractive, hygienic, and calm. It contains child sized furniture, natural materials, and limited distractions so children can work independently. What is the role of Montessori directress? The directress prepares and protects the environment, observes children, and facilitates learning. She remains calm and intervenes only when necessary to support natural development. What role do parents play in Montessori education? Parents and teachers should work together toward common educational aims. Parents observe, discuss development with teachers, and apply suitable Montessori principles in the home. State 2 criticism of the Montessori method. Critics argue that the prepared environment can be artificial and that demonstrating the use of materials is still a form of teacher control. Others believe dramatic and imaginative play receives insufficient attention. Name four famous Muslim philosophers mentioned in the handout. The handout mentioned Al-Kindi, Al-Razi, Al-Farabi, and Ibn Sina. Their writings contributed greatly to Islamic philosophy and later influenced Christian and Jewish thought. How was philosophy divided by Al-Khwarizmi? Al-Khwarizmi divided philosophy into theoretical and practical branches. Theoretical philosophy included metaphysics, mathematics, and physics, while practical philosophy included ethics, economics, and politics. How did Muslim philosophers prove the existence of a first cause? They argued that contingent things require causes and that an endless or circular chain of causes is impossible. Therefore, the chain must end in a necessary existent that has no cause. How did Muslim philosophers argue that there is only one necessary existent? Two necessary existent would either be completely identical or different through additional attributes. Complete identity would make them one, while additional composition would make them dependent on a cause. What seven positive attributes did philosophers ascribe to God? They described God as a knowing, powerful, living, willing, speaking, seeing, and hearing. They considered these attributes identical with the divine essence rather than separate addition. Why did Epicena consider prophecy necessary for society? Society needs laws for order and cooperation, but an ordinary lawgiver may not be universally accepted. Ibn Sina therefore argued for a divinely inspired prophet who communicates law and supports it through religion. What personal qualities made the Holy Prophet an effective teacher? The Holy Prophet ﷺ, was approachable, pleasant, attentive, and respectful toward people of every age. He used eye contact, personal attention, kindness, and concise speech to support learning. How did Holy Prophet ﷺ use interactive teaching method? He asked questions, created suspense, encouraged answers, and used dialogue to make learners think. He also checked understanding and corrected mistakes with wisdom and compassion.